Here is a presentation of the macabre images embedded in the Bates Must-Die letter, a Zodiac connection with Cheri Jo Bates' murder, Riverside, California, in 1966. These images were created by a member identified in the Z408 as Albert Lee Terry Jr. He was tasked with the communications for the Zodiac because of his unique and amazing artistic skills. That is, for drawing and embedding photographic images onto natural paper, hidden as an undeveloped negative, whereas they could write information on top of it. And simply by taking a picture of that piece of paper or that note or that letter, which was published either in the papers or on television as part of murder and extortion plans, actually go back into a dark room and create a negative of that picture and develop it and see the hidden messages. It was used for extortion, it was used for torture, it was used for espionage, and it was used for communications. But the funny thing about Albert Lee Terry Jr., he seemed to have a significant dark side. And in the moments in which he had no reason to, he seemed to go above and beyond the duty to document all of the activities of the Zodiac, including the people, the persons, the things, and the images and scenes of the murders in which they were all complicit in. He himself may also have been involved in several of the murders based on the differing modus operandi we have identified in the Zodiac case. We know of at least two people that most likely were involved in the murders. One with a steady hand, who was able to kill their victims with a single gunshot to the bottom of the back of the head, like Paul Stine and David Faraday, and one who was shaky, who was nervous, whose palms were sweating, like the man who showed up at Lake Berryessa. The two can't be the same person. We believe that Albert Lee Terry Jr., with this incredible skill to do these types of drawings, hide these images, and the time it takes to create these type of photographic collages embedded in all these communications by the Zodiac, of which this seems to be one, the Cheri Bates letter saying that she must die or she had to die, shows that he seems to be the one with the steadiest of hands. In 1971, we found evidence that his death was faked and that he may have been applying and accepted into the witness protection program, because the other half of the Zodiac case involves the United States government and at the time presented a national security risk. These people, these murderers, these extortionists, these people doing espionage were able to skate, as the federal government refused to share information in the ciphers, and if they even knew about these hidden codes, to local law enforcement, who were left to fend for themselves at a time where forensics wasn't available in terms of DNA. The handwriting was hidden because it was actually artistic crypt, and I don't think that anyone ever thought about these types of skills, which were learned through not only naval intelligence, but he had to have had some other type of either gift or was just an amazing person in terms of his imagination and techniques in photography. In the military, these people were connected to photographic naval intelligence reconnaissance, so their association with photography would be at the highest level at that time, as the United States in the Vietnam War was experimenting for the first time with capturing images from the sky with photographic equipment, but then processing it immediately on the ship or in the airplane, and then beaming that down via satellite into live combat. That took place for the first time in Vietnam. There was a political agenda, but this type of stuff went way beyond a political agenda and has left a ton of evidence that locks us in to the ability to actually solve this mystery. I believe the family victims and the families of the victims deserve an answer and an apology. I believe the American people deserve an answer and an apology, and I believe the truth should come out. if they were bold enough to kill these people in search of their justice, then they should be bold enough and have courage enough to admit to it now, at least those who are still alive. This is Steve Butler. We're on the investigation. We haven't stopped, and there really isn't any reason to. And now, understanding that this letter is connected to Albert Lee Terry Jr., who's connected to the Zodiac, who's connected to all their communications and may have been one of the killers, there's a possibility that Riverside PD could find DNA on that letter connected to Albert Lee Terry Jr., and that would validate our investigation. Thank you for your time.